Well, it started raining now, but I guess we'd better do a 0 to 60 dash. There's 60. Welcome to my new car, my 1992 Honda Prelude 2-litre injection automatic. It's one of those cars that I've always quite fancied, just because that tends to be true of an awful lot of cars. But having missed out on the first, second and third generation, all of which have become rather rare, I thought I'd better get my hands on one before I no longer could. It's a strategy that worked well with the XM, which I still own. Don't worry, the XM is going nowhere for the moment. And it has to be said, the ride of this car is nowhere near as good as an XM. But then it makes up for it in other ways. It's astonishingly capable cross-country, as I found out this morning. I'm currently in Cannock in Staffordshire, but earlier today I was in Shropshire, and if it's driving roads you want, I recommend the place wholeheartedly. I ended up on the B4355, I think it is, between Newtown and Knighton, and it was just heavenly. Bend after bend, dropping down, twisting round. I would have loved to have tried to capture it in video, but I was having too much fun. And the way this car corners is just remarkable. The suspension I've complained about being a bit firm and a bit crashy. Oh, it really came together, because it suddenly feels taut and predictable. I mean, I wasn't pushing as hard as I possibly could because the roads were greasy and very muddy. This car is absolutely filthy. So you can't go all guns blazing in those sorts of conditions. Surprisingly, the gearbox is not a hindrance in those conditions, because as you come towards a bend you can just knock it into third. Sometimes you don't even have to brake. It's just that extra engine braking gives you that bit more control as you go into a bend. I was very surprised by that. So this is a 4th generation Honda Prelude, and it's got the most feeble engine, which is the 133 brake horsepower 2-litre. It's a single cam 16 valve engine, so there must be some pretty interesting rockers under there to operate all the different valves. It's a very low driving position, very low indeed, and I feel like my bottom is scraping the ground. But it's very comfortable, very straight position, long leg. The wheel is in just the right place, and the steering is just delightful. There doesn't seem to be all that much assistance, so it feels very nice as you're hooning around. You can hear all those different gear changes. That's because it's a 4-speed gearbox, but it's also got a torque converter lockup in 4th gear, and that means effectively a direct drive between engine and the road. And the benefit of that is that it makes it super efficient. You've not got the usual drag of an automatic gearbox, and that helps explain how on the 200-mile journey back from Devon, yes, it does have a lot of road noise on some surfaces, I managed to get 34 to the gallon, which for a sporty automatic seems pretty decent to me. The ergonomics are a bit bizarre. The electric mirror switch is down here, and I have to slide my arm past my seat in order to use it. It's too close to the seat. It's very strange. Also, the dimmer switch for the dashboard to change the illumination is right behind the handbrake, which definitely isn't where I expected it to be. In straight line acceleration terms, this is not an overly rapid car. I imagine the 0 to 60 time is somewhere around 10 seconds. But what I found on the A and B roads is there's a lot of torque on offer low down the rev range, which is quite surprising for a fairly modern, even if it is over 20 years old, multi-valve engine. Which means you don't have to go above 3,000 revs, which makes it a very different prospect to the full-on VTEC that everyone wants to own. Because on those, you've kind of got to keep them on the boil at all times. Instead, with this 2-litre engine, you're just using the torque all the time. So, like now, just slot it into third just to get a bit more engine braking, pitch it around this roundabout, and we're off onto the M54. We're now driving down the M54 at about 70-ish miles an hour, doing just over 3,000 revs. And as I found out on the way back from Devon, it's very comfortable and it'll keep doing that all day. Very accomplished cruiser, even if, as you can hear, road noise, especially on this horrible concrete surface, is a bit much. Despite the fact it has a rear wiper, this isn't actually a hatchback, it's a 2-door coupe with just a normal boot. Fortunately, someone has felt the need to put a spoiler on this one, which I think helps. They don't look right without a spoiler. It's interesting when you look at the rear tail lights, you can clearly see a link to the Honda inside there. Ah, there we go. Change of road surface. All a bit better. So, that's my introduction to my new Honda Prelude. Not sure how long this one will stick around, you know what I'm like, but do subscribe and you'll get further updates as they become available. Thank you for watching, see you again.